2, 1. Let's get it.
Buenos noches, amigos, and welcome to episode 19 of Not Another Sox podcast. I am Jack Webster here with Matt Galveo and Matt LeBeau. Fellas, we are finally not locked out.
Man, dude, after like the last 2 weeks of like getting like blue balls from baseball Twitter, we're back, man. We are back. I thought it was a prank at first day. I was a little skeptical because there was, big news coming in that they were getting close. Jack, as you were saying, like, they were at the 1 yard line, then they were at the goal line, and they got it done. So it's a big day. It's a great day, not only for baseball, but also for the show as well. So we've pretty much been doing this with nothing the entire time. So this is big news.
Yeah, it's wow, it's a great feeling. It felt like it was never going to come, and even when it was at, like you said, the 1 yard line or the half-yard line, you always felt like there was just going to be that one more issue that came up. And for a lot of, that was the draft pool, the international. It finally looked like we had a deal, and then the international draft pool thing became a huge issue most of last night and into today. And then they finally resolved that. That was just a missing piece. That was the puzzle piece there. But to get a deal, full 162, everyone goes home happy. You can't beat it. It's a very, very good day for us, for the show, for baseball, for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Over like the last 2-3 weeks specifically, you're hearing from like the Bob Nightingales and the John Heymans that we're at the 1 yard line, and then all of a sudden it was intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler,
Yeah.
and the Patriots win the Super Bowl. But no, you kind of saw it inching closer and closer, and especially when those artificial deadlines came into place. That's when you really started to see a lot of the traction move between both sides and start to give a little bit more. So, I'm sure both sides are not even really happy with it at the end of the day, but the fans are happy, and that's all that's really going to matter now.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I thought you were gonna go.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
No, yeah, good. No, absolutely, and that's really it. Obviously, it comes down to, for one, the most important part of the game is the fans, and that can't be lost. I think that during these negotiations, obviously we were on the player side, but I don't think either side really had the fans in mind. And the only reason why both of those sides are as successful as they are is because of, people like us, fans like us, the people that, buy the apparel, tune into the games, keep those regional sports networks from, getting those billion-dollar deals, going to the games. So, the fans did win today, didn't lose out on a game, single game, full 162. And that's really, really important. Really, really important.
That's big for the sport too. To not lose any actual games. Playing the full 162 is huge. And I think at the end of the day, as talks were heating up, the last, week or so, I think today just, both sides felt, both sides definitely felt pressure to get a deal done, because we talked about it last episode that, this wasn't great for the sport going forward if you were gonna either cut the season short or potentially not even have a season this year. That that would have been worst case scenario. But at the end of the day, I think obviously both sides felt pressure to get a deal done, and I think they knew they had to get something done because they couldn't drag this out any further and actually lose games, and they had to get it done at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, I think that's the most surprising thing out of all of this, even from months and even almost years back at this point, that we are going to be playing a full 162 game season. It is going to look, slightly different, but I don't think anybody's really going to look back in a few years and think too differently of it. But I think, personally speaking, that I thought we were going to lose dozens of games, and not only the first two series. I thought we were going to lose more than that and just kind of have an abbreviated season. So to actually have, another full year of MLB baseball is, an absolute joy. I think even specifically talking about the last few weeks, they literally said that they were canceling games. And I mean, I'm sure that was just to add a little bit more, fuel to the fire with discussions and everything. But it really didn't seem like that we were actually going to be playing a full Major League Baseball season and gonna kind of have a little bit of a different tone to the season almost.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, would 150 games be that big of a deal? Probably not. But if you're the team that finishes in second place by a game, or two games, you're looking at those lost games and you're feeling shorted. These guys are giving their all. Um, you know, 3 hours a night, every single night, with the exception of, the very, very few off days they have per month. Um, you want to see the season out for what it's supposed to be. And baseball is supposed to be a marathon played over 162 games. And the best teams at the end of that marathon are supposed to be in the playoffs. And that was another thing with that I didn't like about the 14 team playoff was that not only would we have maybe potentially canceling games, last amount of games, but then 14 teams get in. I mean, shortened season, 14 team playoff. To me, that was just a nightmare scenario for the MLB or for Major League Baseball. And I'm just glad that was certainly not the end result.
No, I mean, you kind of saw that preview of 14 teams back in 2020 when it made a little bit more sense when you had a 60 game season and, a team that might have just missed out on the game might have felt a little gypped out. But I think a 12 team kind of format, how they're going to have it now, is good. They expand the playoffs a little bit. I am, a fan of having more teams make it, giving them an extra chance. I would have liked to see a team like the Blue Jays or even the Mariners compete for a chance last year because they're obviously good enough. But I think 14 might have been, a little bit too much because then you have a chance of a team that's 500 or even possibly below 500 making it into the playoffs. And that'd be, not great if somehow they beat off, a one seed like UMBC or whatever there was beating Charlottesville a few years ago.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well said. I mean, you don't want a fight. At the end of the day, I mean, it's cool to see an upset, but I mean, the baseball isn't fun because of upsets. I mean, I'm not saying that I want to see the best team win, but baseball is fun for a million other reasons. And we watch the game to, watch the best players on the biggest stage. And I think 12 teams is a good compromise. I think it allows teams that should make the playoffs, if they should make the playoffs with a 12 team format, I think they will. If they, fall just short, well, then I don't really think you deserved it. But I think 12 is a good number.
For sure. And LeBeau, it's funny that you brought up, even if we lost say 10 games or 12 games or so, we actually had, Jack knows this. We had somebody in the office that was trying to say that these, games in the beginning of the season, they don't matter. And, we were talking about kind of the length. We were talking about the length of the season. And like you said, it is a marathon, and those games do matter, especially come the end of the season. If you were to miss out on, a dozen games or so, that matters at the end of the day. So it is good that they get the 162 in, which is it's a clown take to say that the early games don't matter. Every game matters just the same.
Just the same. It's such a stupid thing to say. A divisional game against the Yankees or the Rays, what difference does that make if it's in April or if it's in September? If you win that game, that's a 2-game swing in the standings.
Right.
One win is a 2-game swing head to head, and you have tiebreakers. You have just overall momentum. I mean, yeah, no, they all matter just the same. I understand maybe hey, an April game against the Oakland Athletics. If you drop it, no one's really going to be too upset. But I mean, they all matter just the same.
Yeah, now imagine like if the 2011 Red Sox got off to a better start and that September collapse ended up not being anything more than a footnote. Every game obviously matters the same. It does in every single sport. I mean, that's the reason why they call it, an average throughout the year is because, it does even out through the law of probability. And that's why I think, baseball is one of the best sports is because you have such a large sample size not only between games, but players, statistics, everything else like that. You know who the best team is at the game of 162 game season. And then, even if you're not the best team at that 162 game chance, you still have a, good chance to win the World Series. Like, none of the times the Giants won the World Series, they were probably the best team in the league outside of probably the 2018 Red Sox or maybe even 2004. They were never the best team in the league that year. So that's what's really nice about it is you have the chance to, prove yourself throughout the regular season. There's no denying that if you make the playoffs over that long period of time, you deserve it. And you have the chance of, being the best team in the entire league.
Yeah. No, I think in terms of the the best team in baseball rarely after a full 162, the best team rarely wins. I mean, in 2018 we saw it obviously with the Red Sox, but since then, it hasn't been that way at all. The Braves, not even close. The Nationals, not even close. I mean, 2020 does that 2020 really count? 60 game
Doesn't
season.
count. We're literally saying it's over 162. That does not count.
Exactly. 2017, I mean, you could
They
make the
cheated.
argument.
They cheated.
They cheated. Yep. 2016, I think the Cubs were, I mean, one of the best, but I don't think they had the best record. I mean,
Destiny was on
playoffs
their side.
right. The playoffs. I think the baseball playoffs is perfect because like you watch a sport like the NBA, and basically the higher seed's going to win pretty much every time. As long whoever has home court advantage, they're pretty much going to win. Baseball is just so different, and it's perfect. October baseball, there's truly nothing like it, and to be able to sit here today with like and to say that without that like pit in your stomach of like, oh, October baseball is so great, but like, is it going to happen this year? Like when we were watching 4 days in October, it was like really fun to watch, but it also was like kind of you give a little like anxious feeling because it's like, wow, what if we miss out on this? What if we go a whole year without this? That would be so devastating. So, to sit here today and be able to say that we're definitely gonna have baseball, we're definitely gonna have October baseball, and we're definitely gonna have some free agent signings coming up is fantastic.
No, I mean, now we're going to see a whole tidal wave of things moving forward, including a whole class of free agents that we're going to be playing musical chairs with here. I mean, obviously, we've touched upon some of the guys that, might be coming over and everything. But a lot of things have changed over the last 99 days of the lockout, and we'll see how much teams are going to want to spend and, specifically what the Red Sox might want to be doing free agent or trades wise over the course of the next, 28 days before the opening day starts.
Yeah. And I think it's twofold for teams, especially like the Red Sox. Like, I think the Red Sox will spend, and I think they'll use the money that the expanded the luxury tax threshold to fill it. I think it'll be filled to where they either get to it or even possibly go over it this year.
Because they have some money coming off the books next year, right?
Yeah, you got JD. Help me out. JD.
I think Xander's actually going to be not off the books this year, but the year after that. So hopefully that's not even a problem at all.
Right.
I think Vasquez is coming up.
Yep, Vasquez. So I think the Red Sox will definitely spend some money, but now, like with the new CBA, right? Owners might say, well, we're a little less profitable than we were. We have a little smaller of a cut, so we don't quite want you to get to that number. So like I think every team's going to be kind of impacted differently. I think the Red Sox are going to be one of those teams where that number is made to be gone over at least temporarily, and then they'll always kind of float around it, I think.
No, and I mean the Red Sox were always seemed to be one of those teams that were willing to spend a little bit more money or lose a little bit more money in the collective bargaining talks than some of the teams that ended up voting against it, like the Yankees, the Astros, the Cardinals, or the Mets. Like those teams, were very against a lot of the stuff that were going in there because it's going to hurt them long term. It's going to cost them more money. They're not going to be able to spend as much. Who knows if the Yankees are even going to be able to sign Aaron Judge, or if he's going to go to the Kansas City Royals or some shit like that. And there's a lot of reasons to believe the Sox are going to be spending a lot. They were in on a lot of names before the lockout ended. They got room to play with, not only for this year but a few years beyond, especially with the CBT going up year by year. So they're in a very good position right now.
Oh, for sure. The door's open for our boy Sully Suzuki to make his Red Sox debut, sign a deal.
Sully is if you're up and you're listening to this, then come on the podcast.
He's definitely up at this point.
This is like noon in Japanese.
He's having
literally like having some lunch right now. Like he's signing the paperwork. I'm literally surprised. I mean, it's been a whole 5 hours since free agency has opened back up, and we haven't heard Sully Suzuki has signed with the Red Sox. I sincerely can't believe it.
Yeah, and I mean they probably found out about it before us because they're ahead of us time-wise.
That's true.
So,
and they didn't warn us.
Yeah, they didn't warn us about 9/11 either.
That's how time works.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sully should have just shot us a DM there and be like, "Hey, by the way, baseball's back." If you didn't know.
By the way, I'm coming to the Sox.
Yeah, no, I think there's going to be a lot of impacts that this has on the Red Sox. I think the list is probably long. I mean, I don't know all the exact details about the CBA, so I don't want to like misspeak. But obviously, rule changes too, like that's going to have effect on every team. But definitely the Red Sox as well.
Yeah. No, having a universal DH changes the market for a lot of guys. I mean, I think somebody that we obviously wanted back was Ohio native Kyle Schwarber. And I think he might go to a place where there's now that hard Mountain Dew seltzer. So one with like maybe a team where they were down in Florida and they didn't have a DH before, but now he can enjoy those hard seltzers down there. So it's unfortunate, but we're going to enjoy just our half season of our large son from Ohio.
Yeah. It's a shame. I mean, if they lose Schwarber, that sucks. But I mean, if you lose Schwarber, then I think you got to go out and get 2 bats because you lose Renfroe and Schwarber.
Yeah.
Like don't forget you lost Renfroe's bat too. So you can't just replace Renfroe and Schwarber with Sully and then it should be like that's it.
Whoa! You forgot about JBJ.
Yeah, JB Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you need 3 bats then.
Yeah. You need one to compensate for JBJ's.
JBJ's a negative bat.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you joke, but actually,
no, actually, it is. Yeah. 400 OPS.
I would love to see Matt LeBeau go up there and take some at bats instead of JBJ.
I would hack it. I mean, I would.
Big Daddy hacks just like Big Al.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and they can't shift on you now either.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. I'm actually a big time opposite field. I like to go the opposite way. So I just gotta go.
So you would have benefited from a shift.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. So I wonder how that's gonna work. Does anyone know like how they're gonna do that? Like,
no, they have not announced how they're actually gonna do. They're like, we're banning the shift, and everyone's like, okay, well, what does that mean? And they're like, I don't know, with larger bases.
Yeah.
Yep. Bigger bases. Yeah. I assume. I mean, that'll create for more offense. I think. Right.
Yeah, no, it should. I'm honestly for bigger bases. Honestly, I feel like they could have just put in bigger bases and told nobody, and nobody would have actually like noticed. Maybe other than like five players, like, "Hey, this base is 10% larger now. Like, I'm having a harder time tagging the guy out." And like outside of that, like they changed the baseballs and nobody even really noticed
Yo,
that much. Like if you
you
change the base itself, like players are on that even less. So I feel like that was one where they didn't even have to agree on it. MLB would have just done it anyways.
Yeah, they could have just done it.
You sounded like the stereotypical like Guido Yankee fan right there. Like, oh, the base is a 10%
The bases
bigger,
are bigger
Carmella.
now.
Yeah.
Yo, look how small this base is compared to Aaron Judge. He's so big.
That'll be another fucking beautiful excuse for Yankee fans to have.
Yep.
Those goddamn bases.
Yeah, we won 27 when the bases were smaller, and now we haven't won any since.
They will. That's funny, but because they will say that.
Yeah.
Nah, if they change the bases, Alex Cora would sniff it out.
Yeah.
Nothing gets by that guy. He would definitely there would just be like a smell in the air. He would just be like, "You guys are using more rubber for these bases, 100%."
Be like when Pineda had like the fucking pine
Oh my God, the
down
tar.
his goddamn neck, and even Johnny Farrell was just like, "Fucking come on, dude."
Yeah. John Farrell, who probably is the king of instructing his pitchers to use sticky stuff. Even called Michael Pineda out on it. That's I didn't really like that, but I mean,
well, he did it 2 games in a row. Like,
yeah,
he was dumb. He was just dumb about it.
Dude, it was so crazy because you just see like that blotch of just tar on his neck. It's like,
and that's
you're
just
not
what
sweating.
the average New Yorker looks like.
But not only a big day for baseball, but a big day for NFTs.
Yeah. No, Jeff Passan chose the most opportune time to show off his skull tune.
Dude, I literally my phone just blew up, and I had it here. I was waiting for obviously a tweet about a new CBA, and all of a sudden I just see a bunch of Passan tweets, and I'm like, this is it. And he's tweeting the details, and I just see a bunch of skull fucking yeah, and I'm dude what the fuck is this? That was wild. That was honestly wild.
How long do you think those guys held on to it? Or like, okay, today's finally the day it's happening. Like, we can see it in Passan's tweets that he had everything locked and loaded to go. Let's just do this now. Get 4 people to sign up for our NFT scam, and then we'll be on our jolly way to the FBI.
You know what's crazy is those hackers when they set out to do this, they probably knew nothing about baseball or Major League Baseball at all. Along the way, they probably learned so much about the league and the process and the talks, and they're probably now baseball fans, honestly.
Dude, we should have one of them on the show.
Yeah, if you're listening
we should
and you
invite
hacked Passan, please come on the show.
No, okay, but imagine you're, an NFT monkey or whatever they are. And this is your first experience with baseball, is the toxicity between the owners and the players and having every single fan be mad. And that is what draws you into Major League Baseball. They're they're not fighting 24/7 over the next 5 years. Now I'm fucking out.
They feed off the drama.
Yeah.
They love it. They love it. You think they hate Rob Manfred?
No, Rob Manfred is what got them into this. They want to see him be commissioner for life and have even more lockouts in place. They want a lockout every year.
Every year, yeah.
I saw, dude. I loved Rob Manfred's apology to the fans. It was after he just raw dogged all of baseball. And I tweeted like it was the biggest like post nut clarity ever. Like after he fucking nutted everywhere, he was like, I have to go. I have to go. Please call an Uber. Call an Uber. Like that was exactly what happened. Straight post nut clarity from Rob.
Are we gonna go out to breakfast?
Yeah.
Your Uber's
No.
outside.
Yeah, 99 days of blue balls just for him to get a nice like touch on the thigh and fucking splooge.
Hey, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Yep. What a nightmare.
Fuck.
Well, it's finally over.
Well,
I will give him credit for somehow navigating this to 162. Barely any credit, but the job was done at the end of the day, whether it was just, popsicle sticks and fucking Elmer's glue. We got there.
No, I mean, if you look at where the two sides were, what was it, like 3-4 weeks ago, and how like everything was, they're so far apart, and then far apart on this, and then, okay, they finally agreed on one small thing. Now the bigger issue. It's like, it came together in a way where the obviously two sides did want to get a deal done. So I do give the owners a little bit of credit. They did, give in, and they still made a very good deal for themselves. Don't get me wrong, ton of money, but yeah, they definitely bent a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like at the end of the day, like I said, they kind of felt like they had to. Like they couldn't really drag this on for much longer. I feel like it just wasn't going to end well.
No, the players were always going to get, their money from another team or whatever. And, it was the lockout was going to hurt the owners more than anybody else, especially long term. Because even if it went any more longer than it did, you're going to start losing a lot of casual fans. You're going to start losing a lot of those like group outings that come out to a lot of these games and type of stuff. You're going to start losing, a lot of young kids, were especially during that like middle part of the summer when baseball is the only sport on TV, and you don't have to worry about school. You can just go out to like a nice day game, and like losing all that for an entire year while you still have players like Juan Soto and Acuna and even Mike Trout and a lot of these younger guys in their prime just would have been absolutely devastating. And I'm not sure the sport could have recovered unless they literally started mandating steroids like they did in the 90s.
Yeah. No, I think we brought that up last episode too, is just like, I mean, you got to kind of strike here while the iron's hot. I mean, the league, the MLB has almost never been better with the amount of superstars that they have, in all over the place. I mean, you mentioned it, like Acuna, Tatis, Soto. You got guys all over the place that are just superstars. This is the time to market the game and to get the game out there, especially to the to younger kids, to get them involved. And this is the best time. This is one of the best eras of baseball, on a superstar standpoint, where you have talent all over the league.
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, you could even make the argument, if you're a little more of a conspiracy theorist, you could make the argument that the steroid thing was kind of like planted by the MLB after they had the 1994 World Series canceled, because the league kind of was like on life support for a couple of years there, and they needed something. I don't know if, obviously it was intentional, but it surely brought baseball back from the depths. And, to have those guys absolutely just hitting nukes. No one remembered the fact that there was a strike and the World Series wasn't played in 1994. Everyone forgot about it. Baseball would have needed something like that. They avoided a catastrophe, and they avoided having to manipulate the fans into liking the game again, because now, with the way it is, a full 162 games, you'll be able to get to see those guys that are in their prime. Like you said, the Sotos of the world, Acuna, Devers, the guys that are young, up and coming. They're not going to miss a year. They're not going to have that hole in their stat sheets. Not going to affect their Hall of Fame, contention. So it's great for the players. It's great for those young guys.
Yeah, we already had a full year of weird shortened baseball. We don't need that 2 times in 3 years. We don't need that 2 times in a lifetime, really. So I mean, just getting back to a sense of normalcy here, kind of putting this all behind us, I think is gonna do wonders for a lot of fans around the games. I know I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure everybody that's listening to this right now is super looking forward to it as well. And we're looking forward to just putting out more actual content out there for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so crazy to me to think that if April games were canceled, this would have been the 3rd year in a row that fans weren't able to go to games, Major League Baseball games in April. You had 2020, COVID. Obviously, there weren't any games at all. You had last year, which you weren't even really able to go to stadiums until you could go in April, but it was very, very limited capacity. It wasn't the same. And, no one really went. And then, it would have been this year with the lockout. So It really would have been just very, very disappointing. Again, just completely averted catastrophe.
Yeah, it'll be nice because it looks like this is going to be, the first really normal season that we're going to have, within the last couple of years. So it'll be nice. I mean, we're all looking forward to it. A nice, full season. Looks like it's going to be a normal one. Getting back to Fenway. It's going to be that first Fenway is going to hit different for sure.
Oh, it's going to hit way different.
It's going to slap me silly.
I was looking forward to actually having an opening day at Fenway Park because it feels like the last few years we've been opening on the road. And I think we even did against the Orioles last year, but the same thing, it didn't count because it was so small capacity and everything. So we are opening up the year at Yankee Stadium, April 7th. They might be at 25% capacity just because.
Yeah, right.
But no, we will finally be playing ball at Fenway Park April 15th. It looks like, and we're hoping to be there with you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited.
We're actually we didn't want to say this, but we there's talks that we might be throwing out the first pitch, but
there is.
We're there's rumblings that might happen.
I think they're trying to work on. I think the issue is the catcher situation because they didn't want an average non-catcher to catch the first pitch because they don't want them to get hurt.
Right.
So they want someone who's actually been behind the plate. So
maybe Veritek.
Vasquez. They have Veritek. They're working on getting one additional catcher.
They're having all 3 of us throw it at the same time. So they have Loecki and they have Vasquez. It's more of finding that third person. I mean, I know Veritek's in that dugout. He could do it. But, he's done enough in his career. So they might actually need to fly in Doug Marabelli and take him on the police escort just to help catch our opening day first pitches.
Get him on a private jet to Fenway ASAP.
Yeah.
Yep. Imagine you move to Massachusetts for that's your first day in Massachusetts and the highway shut down and there's just a state, it's like a limo and a statey going 100 miles an hour.
Who is that?
Yeah, you're just is it
is
the
president
here? No, that's the Red Sox. That's the Red Sox backup catcher. Actually, he's on.
Tim Wakefield starting today.
It's Tim Wakefield. They're like, "What are you talking about?" Well, he throws a knuckleball. It's a really slow pitch. It moves a lot. He's the only one that can catch him. They just traded him from San Diego. Yeah, I don't think I want to live here anymore.
Yeah. Oh, and it gets down to negative 10 during the winter.
Yeah. Is this Mirabelli guy? Is he going to play a lot over the next few games? No, he's going to sit the next 4 actually.
Yeah, until Wakefield wants to go again.
Yeah. That's all.
What a
Only
legend.
in New England. Only in New England.
That's right. Oh shit.
No, I mean, we'll have some goodies for you guys though. We got a big one coming up for you, so
Yeah.
that should be on our Twitter over the next few days,
Yeah.
and hopefully should get us some traction here a little bit.
Yep, we got the granddaddy of them all. So you guys will be really happy. We're really happy. Again, just all smiles all day today. Very, very good day. You guys got any free agent predictions? I mean, I know we made some predictions back in the off season, but now
Yeah.
that
I mean, I guess the big one that's still out there is Correa, and they have been linked to him. So that is a very interesting one. And you're talking about needing a bat. I mean, that's a pretty good bat to have in the lineup.
it is. It is. I ultimately think they don't get Correa, but who knows? I definitely, my prediction is they definitely get Sully,
Yeah.
and they get Sully, and then
for
they
sure.
get,
I think he just wants to be here.
I think maybe like a Ryan Tepera, and then maybe like someone else. I don't know.
No, I'm in that same exact boat where they get an outfielder. They might get like another infield utility type of guy to complement Arroyo, or even if it's Kike at second base. I think they want a little bit more depth there before, maybe like someone like Nick York comes up, maybe even over the next few years or so. I can definitely see them adding another bullpen arm, maybe not like a closer like Kenley Jansen, but that one might even come from like a trade or something like that. So I'm not too worried about who it might be. It's more, those last kind of few holes to platoon with like JBJ and really add some of those depth pieces here. But you're in a good spot. They didn't really lose too much in the offseason outside of maybe Schwarber, who, kind of was just a pure rental at the end of the day anyways.
It looks like that's kind of becoming more and more the case, especially now that the dust has settled with Schwarber. I think the sweet spot to re-sign him was like right after the season ended, when he was still kind of at the forefront of Red Sox fans' minds, and definitely held like a big place in their hearts. I think that now on paper, looking at it from a completely logical standpoint, right, taking favorites out of it, I think that he's very replaceable, and I'd love to have him back, but I think he's very replaceable in a multitude of different ways, whether it be with two players or one player, whatever. So my call on Schwarber is that he doesn't come back to the Red Sox. I think that someone predicted the Phillies early in the offseason. I think that's a good call. I think the Phillies.
Yeah. I mean, the DH rule definitely plays, like Jack said, you mentioned. I mean, that plays a big factor in it too. That just opens up the gate for, a bunch of other teams to be in the mix on him.
Yeah. A ton of teams are going to be in the mix on now just every bet, not just DH, but there's going to be a trickle down effect. So, I definitely look forward to these next couple of weeks. It'll be bussin'. Respectfully.
Yeah, there's gonna be a flurry. There's gonna be a flurry of free agent signings now that everything's opened up, for sure. So
yep.
No,
we're gonna see. There's still big names out there.
Yeah. No, we'll see some guys not even sign until beyond opening day, like even guys that don't have qualifying offers and everything. So this will be the strangest stretch of free agent history in MLB history, without any question at all. Like we're going to see things that, might not happen. I think one thing that we might actually see is just maybe not a guy like Correa, but maybe like a guy like Kenley Jansen or somebody else like that. Just take a 1-year contract, really hit that full market next year, and try to get something even bigger while just taking more of a 1-year type of pillow contract in a way.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that maybe even adding another guy to like the rotation could be like a Rodon, somewhere where maybe like someone on a 1-year kind of prove it type of deal. I think that maybe Bloom is looking at the rotation as like kind of fixed or kind of set almost. You have a lot of different options there, but I still would like to maybe grab another starter, another couple relievers, and another couple of bats. I think there's a lot to be done But it's going to be really, really fun, and I can't wait until we see that first lineup, that first spring training game, that first game against the Yankees, April 7th. No, it's blissful. A main unit inflation.
It's kind of given like we've seen the pictures of like guys working out at the MLB camp there. Guys like Kike and you see the Red Sox players down there and guys from around the league, and it kind of it obviously gives you that itch to get these guys back on the field. So it's nice to have the deal done and ready to have baseball back again. It's going to be a good summer, good year. So we're looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah. No, let's ride. Let's ride.
Yeah. Catch us at Fenway. We'll buy you beers if you buy us beers.
Yep.
That's right. Beer for beer.
And we're very socialist about our beers.
Yes.
Well, Bo, I love the tweet that you had earlier today where you're just like, I miss like going to Fenway and just, losing $150 in beer with a mustard stain on my shirt. That is so relatable, dude.
It's clockwork. There's always a mustard stain. Sometimes it's on your pants. Sometimes it's on your shirt. Sometimes, I'll even be honest, sometimes I've even found one on my fucking top of my shoe. But it always happens, and it's like clockwork. And the more mustard stains, the more money that's been drained from your bank account, the better the Friday night Fenway was, or if it was a playoff game. And I just love that feeling. There is truly no better feeling than Friday night, Fenway Park, hammered, and you wake up the next day and you feel like absolute shit because you ate a bunch of processed meat, drank a ton of beer, and you fucking yelled, and it just hits astronomically different. There's no feeling in the world. There's no feeling in the world.
I'm looking forward to that first sausage, pepper, and onion, dude. Oh. Man.
Oh.
Yep.
That $17 Bud Light.
Oh, it's the best. I would pay $34. I would pay double. Yeah. Give me that. Just give it to me. Just give it to me. That's one place where like they always say like there's some places where money just is not an issue and it just doesn't matter. And one of those places is Fenway Park. It just simply does not. The other places
it's a lot better than being a Disney adult.
Well, yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is so true though. When you walk into Fenway, it's like I mean, like when I walk into Fenway, sometimes I feel like I'm a millionaire because I just like give them my card and I'm just like, yeah, swipe it. I don't care.
Yeah,
like, sir, it's come up declined.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's declined.
Don't worry, I'll be back here.
I can't
swear
wait.
to God, I have money on there.
So I think that we're definitely all going to go to opening day at Fenway, right? That's the 15th, Friday night, and that is confirmed against the Yankees, right?
No, that's against the Twins.
The Twins. Okay,
At Fenway.
Okay, the game in the Bronx is obviously that's April 7th. That's against the Yankees.
Yeah.
Oh, the Guidos, LeBeau. That's your. They're your enemies, man.
Oh,
you and the Guidos do not get along.
Nope, we do not. We do not.
You told them to get the fuck out in the wild card
home,
game, man.
Guido.
Go home, Guidos.
Go home. Call the prison.
Yep.
Dude, that first like Garrett Cole like absolute meltdown is gonna hit wildly different.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
April 7th when Garrett Cole goes 3 2/3, giving up 6.5 runs.
Yeah.
Like meanwhile, like Garrett Whitlock throws like 2.5 scoreless out of the pen to close it out. Like I'm literally going to ejaculate in my pants over and over again.
I'm gonna come.
Buy a completely new pair of trousers because those ones are gonna be ruined.
Talk about mustard stains, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, dude, I'm just it's so nice to be able to say these things and then like I said, not have that looming like feeling in the background of like, oh, this might not happen. Like, it just feels so great to be like, we know that's gonna happen, And not only do we know that the game is going to happen, but we know that Garrett Cole is going to poop his fucking pants.
That's one of the great things. It's not even that the Red Sox are back. It's just like all the stuff, like all the like, the Yankee thing, like the Garrett Cole like shitting himself, like the just like the Yankee fans in general and all the craziness that they spew throughout the entire season.
All
Like
back.
all of that is back, and it is amazing.
Yep, cowboy up.
Cowboy
Let's
up.
get it.
I think.
Right,
Yeah, I think
what do
that
you
probably
guys think?
about does it. We'll get back to a normal schedule here now that we actually are gonna have consistent things to talk about with this Boston Red Sox team.
Yeah.
And we'll hopefully, still be able to do some cool specials. I think we had some ideas that kind of got put on the back burner once we saw the light at the end of the tunnel here. So we might sprinkle those in throughout the rest of the season, especially, depending on how the team's doing, or just kind of do, a few different things just because. So we're looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah.
April 15th, first pitch.
Yep.
We'll be there.
We will be throwing out the first ball, courtesy of Sam Kennedy.
I'm going to be throwing out the last ball. Like, I'm going to be striking out Byron Buxton there. So.
Yep.
The Red Sox haven't announced it, but we did. Doug Mirabelli will be in attendance.
Yeah.
He'll be catching one of the third pitch. So
yes.
Look forward to that.
Just the third pitch.
Just the third one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but you guys have been great.
Yeah.
Now that the lockout has ended, we will have, obviously, like we said, some more Red Sox related content and some more accurate stuff. Get some sleep. Hopefully we'll have some free agent signings pretty soon.
That's it.
I'm in the corner watching you kiss her. Oh.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.